Hello everyone, Giltar here with an action figure review. This time we'll be looking at the Ultra Strike Spider-Man toy from Hasbro's Ultimate Spider-Man toy line, and specifically this is from what they call the Core 6-inch toy line. Now this is a figure that came out fairly recently, I think mid to late January or early February of 2013. Right now it's getting towards the end of March 2013. I found it just this week at my local Toys R Us. Now, the manufacturer's suggested retail price for this toy is $12.99 in the United States, or about $13. Here in Canada, it's $14.99, or basically $15. Now, starting off with scale comparisons, you can see that the Ultimate Spider-Man figure here, as far as I'm concerned, is actually in fairly proper scale. To the left and right are the Marvel Legends Deathlock and Steve Rogers figures, and in a 6-inch scale toy line, 6 inches is basically sort of like the average height, or the sort of average 6-foot tall character. Now, if we consider that Ultimate Spider-Man is a young teenaged Peter Parker, he's probably about 16 years old. He's not like a really tall, big person. He's probably 5'8", 5'9", maybe 5'10" at this point. So having Steve Rogers on one side and Deathlock on the other gives you a good idea of where this character would line up in your collection if you do have Marvel Legends or other similar 6-inch scale range toys. So I'll just move these out of the way. Now, the Ultra Strike Spider-Man toy is touted as a superposable figure. That's basically the one reason why I bought this toy, because, and I'll just bring this up for you guys to see. The other toys in the first wave of the Spider-Man toys here for the Ultimate Spider-Man line are another variation of Spider-Man, I guess another variation of Spider-Man in the Iron Spider suit, and Nova. Now, as far as I've seen in the toy store, these are all figures that have basically about 5 points of articulation, 1 neck joint, 2 shoulders, and 2 hips. I don't know if they have knee or elbow joints. They might, but beyond that, I'm pretty sure they don't have wrist or ankle joints, which does fairly limit their ability to be displayed. Now, keep in mind, these are toys advertised for 4 years old and older children, so they don't need super articulation, but as you can see here, I'll bring this closer, it says up here, superposable. The gimmick accessory for this toy, I guess why it's called the Ultra Strike, is this web dart missile launcher accessory. And before I move the box away, I really like the packaging for this because it's something fairly unique in that it's an open package design. Only one string secures the Spider-Man toy, and under this part of the plastic is where the missile launcher accessory is kept. This is a really great design for toy collectors who like to keep their figures either in package or place the packages or the boxes within their collected displays. Yeah, this package design requires that you don't actually have to damage the box or the packaging in order to remove the toy. Just to give you guys a look at the Ultra Strike accessory, the web dart, it's this thing here. Basically, this cuff goes over either wrist of the toy, and this is the missile for the accessory, and it's not like a spring-loaded gimmick in the traditional way where you pull back on the spring and a locking mechanism activates. You actually just simply pull back and then let go and it fires. So it's a pretty simple, straightforward accessory. I'm not a big fan of missile firing accessories, to be honest, but I don't mind it if something like this is in the toy design, just because it's fairly small, it's not obtrusive, and it's something I can just like put aside if I want to. Now, moving on to the toy itself. It's got a fairly good likeness to the Ultimate Spider-Man design, not spot on, but from what I've seen of the cartoon show, which is several episodes, it looks fairly accurate. I am a fan of the show from what I've seen so far. It seems pretty humorous. The humor is very similar to what we've seen in the Ultimate Spider-Man comics. But moving back to the toy, yes, it's a superposable toy. So I'm just going to adjust the focus here and bring it closer. It does have multiple points of articulation. Starting off with the neck joint, it is a basic ball joint. It moves up and down, rotates all the way around. I'm just going to change the lighting source here. We have basically ball hinge joints at the shoulders, elbows, knees, and ankles. They only move to about 90 degrees, as you can see, and they do have full rotation all the way around if you choose to do so. So that does kind of limit the articulation because the elbow, for example, can only bend that far. The shoulders are a little better in that they can bend a fairly good range. And the joints are ratcheted, which is a very interesting thing to see in a toy of this sort of level and where it's aiming towards. The hip joints are ball hinge, and there is a thigh swivel rotation part, which is really interesting. Now, the figure does lack in one spot in particular, the waist and basically torso. There is no torso articulation. It does hold back the figure from being able to strike more dynamic poses, and it does sort of remove some of the personality for the posing potential. Now, the ankle joints are really good about this figure simply because they are ankle rockers, so they allow sideways pivots to allow you to pose the figure in a variety of poses where the bottom of the feet can be flat on the surface where you pose it at. So I'm just going to give you guys an example of a pose. Now again, unfortunately, because of the lack of the waist articulation point, it does limit the figure fairly substantially in terms of the ability to be posed in I guess, to your liking rather. But it's not too bad. I mean, something like this, a lot of Spider-Man figures can't really achieve that. You know, that same pose with, you know, the feet flat on the surface. And again, the only reason why I really sort of looked at this toy is because it, you know, does tout on the packaging that it does have superposability. Now, to be honest, it's not superposability. It's, I would say, average. But for a toy of this type, it is, I guess, beyond the norm. I'm going to say right now, I do recommend this toy to people who are looking for a 6-inch alternative Spider-Man toy for their collection. One that reflects the appearance of the ultimate style of Spider-Man design. And one who isn't too concerned about superposable, ultra-articulated action figures. This is something that is a nice addition to a collection, but if you're looking for the ultimate, you know, not Ultimate Spider-Man, but like the ultimate with a lowercase u, the ultimate Spider-Man for your collection, this isn't going to be the one. But I do have to say that I really do like this figure. I'm glad I bought it. I don't have any regrets. I think it's a decent price. And one more thing I want to bring up before I wrap up this video. This is something that I've only noticed recently, and particularly with this figure, is that this is a toy that uses multiple components of plastic molds on a part in order to achieve appearance. So for example, what I mean by this is that the boot here and the upper shin area of the leg, they're two pieces of plastic. And I think they're an entire piece here, but the red was molded on top of it. To give you guys a better example, the emblem of Spider-Man on the back of the torso is a separate piece of plastic that is inlaid into the blue part of the torso. So this sort of modular layering of plastic is something that I think is fairly new, or at least it's new to me. I think that might be one of the reasons, if not the main reason, why there's no waist articulation in the figure, is because this red plastic area I don't believe is painted. It's actually a separate red piece of plastic that was molded into the blue area. So this is one big piece, and maybe Hasbro decided it was too much of a budget cost to have this, I guess, designed to be a sort of separate waist joint for the torso. Now, I don't know that for sure. I'm only speculating. This is something I only noticed because an online reviewer mentioned this in his review. I don't remember his name, but I'll put his name in the comments just to credit him for that piece of information. So yeah, there you go. That's the Ultra Strike Ultimate Spider-Man figure from Hasbro's core 6-inch line of Ultimate Spider-Man figures. I hope you guys got something out of this review. Thank you very much for your watching. Have yourselves a great day, and see you guys at the next video.